He went to shake his hand. That's it. Just a simple handshake. And the other man walked straight past him. Like he wasn't even there. I don't play them games with people, he said later. I don't dab up people who talk like that. I'm not one of those dudes. That single moment, a disrespected handshake, tells you everything about what's coming. Because in 3 weeks, 2 damaged men are going to climb into a ring on the other side of the world, and one of them is not walking out the same. This is the story of Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu. A tarnished Texan looking for his soul. A grizzled Aussie son trying to escape a shadow that's chased him his whole life. Let's get into it. July 2023. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. Errol Spence Jr., the undisputed welterweight king, stepped in against Terence Crawford. And what happened next wasn't a fight. It was an execution. Crawford broke him down. Head, body, round after round. By the time it ended, Spence wasn't the same fighter who walked in. That Crawford fight was as one-sided as it could possibly get, people around him admitted. Even Spence himself, brutally honest, said if he'd watched someone else lose like that, he'd have said the exact same thing. So he did what broken champions do. He disappeared. No fights. No interviews. Just silence, while the whispers grew louder. Is he done? Did Crawford take something from him that isn't coming back? 3 years off the couch, they say. 3 years since we've seen if Errol Spence still has it, or if that night in Vegas was the end of an era wearing a disguise of a comeback. I'm ready to show everybody what I got left, Spence says now. I know there's doubters. People saying they don't know what Errol Spence's fast looks like anymore. Honestly, I don't know either. That's not the quote of a man in denial. That's a fighter who knows exactly what's on the line. Now meet the man waiting for him. Tim Tszyu. If you know boxing, you know the name Kostya Tszyu, a Hall of Fame legend, a strategist, a fighter so respected that when he famously knocked out Ricky Hatton, an entire generation of fans still talk about it today. Tim never asked to live in that shadow. But he never escaped it either. He built himself up, 24-0. Beat Terrell Gausha. Beat Tony Harrison after a war of words on social media. Built real confidence, real momentum. Then it all came apart. Twice tamed by Sebastian Fundora. Bludgeoned, there's no softer word for it, by Bakram Murtazaliev, a single left hook ending the night before it even got started. What did I get hit with? Tszyu asked afterward, still dazed. Machine of destruction. I got hit with that left hook. 20 rounds of what some are now calling false dawns. A fighter who looked untouchable, suddenly looking human. Suddenly looking beatable. And somewhere in all that noise, someone pressed a button Tszyu didn't know he had. You're trying to fight to get out of your daddy's shadow, Spence told him. And you're not the caliber of your dad. Tszyu's response was ice cold. Now I see how it is. Since that beating, Tszyu has clawed his way back. 2 wins. 20 rounds logged. Confidence, on the surface at least, rebuilt. But here's the question nobody can answer yet. Is it real, or is it just momentum against opponents who were never going to test him the way Fundora and Murtazaliev did? If he's going to fight again, he needs to change his style, one analyst put it bluntly. People know what to do to him now. People know how to beat Tim Tszyu. Tszyu switched camps. Walked away from his long-term corner. Now trains under Australian legend Jeff Fenech, hunting for the piece of the puzzle he's been missing. Spence made his own changes too, swapping Derek James for Ronnie Shields. I feel like a kid again in school, he said, just learning new tricks to the trade. 2 proud men. 2 damaged bodies. Both convinced the answer is still inside them somewhere. Let's talk about what Errol Spence used to be. Because at his peak, he was a nightmare. A thudding southpaw jab. A bulldozer mentality, I'm just going to run them over, he once said, and he meant it literally. That waist-high left hook that dropped Sean Porter. The body work that broke open Kell Brook in his own backyard in Sheffield. 6 straight world title wins. Names like Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Yadenis Ugas, all fell in that stretch. But peak Spence also flipped a Ferrari on a Dallas street in 2019 and nearly died. That style Errol fights, someone close to him said, you have to grind every single day. The car wreck, I don't care what you do, how you look, that has an effect. 3 years off. A body that's been through more than most fighters see in a full career. And now, at 36, he's stepping into enemy territory, Australia, to find out if any of that old magic survived. Tim Tszyu isn't peak either. But when he's in the zone, he still unloads spiteful uppercuts, shoulder torque hooks, fast hands wrapped around real power. Styles make fights, Spence admits. And I think both of us have the perfect style to beat one another. So who wins this? The numbers say Spence, even faded, might still be the better fighter. But Tszyu is riding rhythm, 20 rounds fresh in his legs while Spence has been on the couch. For someone to challenge a guy like Tszyu, when he's been fighting regularly for 3 years and Errol hasn't. One insider said, that tells you exactly how much fight is still left in Errol. Others aren't so sure. He's this close to being a shot fighter, someone warned. This is a perfect opportunity for a guy like Errol Spence to catch him. It's a genuine 50-50. 2 men. 2 questions. And only 1 ring to answer them in. Whoever wins walks away with something bigger than a belt. A verbal agreement is already in place for a shot at Charlo. Real stakes. Real consequences. I really don't care, Spence says of the doubters. I dream about stuff like this, everybody booing me. It gets me more pumped than anything. 6 months ago, people were telling Errol Spence to retire. Walk away. Protect what's left. That's the beauty of this sport, he says now. 1 victory at a time. A lot can change. In 3 weeks, on Australian soil, 1 story ends and another begins. A tarnished king searching for the man he used to be. A son still trying to prove he's more than his father's name. Only one of them walks out with their story intact. If you've made it this far, you already know boxing doesn't hand out fairy tale endings for free. Someone always pays the price. If this kind of story hits different for you, the rise, the fall, the redemption, you know where to find more of it. No pressure. Just stick around if you want the next one.